Hey everybody, this is Perch. I'm going to answer this email, but I feel like I've answered this a few times. So at this point, I don't know if I'm talking to people who are new to the channel or people who, don't listen. And I put out a video every day and sometimes more than one, trying to burn through more of my backlog here just so I can, wrap it all up. But I feel, I always wonder, like, and this is where we're, probably the biggest time where I wish we were in person. We were in a comic shop together. We were talking in person because I can't tell if am I making the point unclear? Or are people just not listening to the answer? Like where is this falling apart? So let's read this mail. It says, "Hello, Perch. First off, I want to say that I enjoy your show. So please don't take anything I'm about to say as being one of your quote unquote haters. I've listened now for a couple of years, and I've heard a number of your points. And while I don't agree with all of them, I appreciate that you take the time to explain what you mean. My question for you is this. I can't put together how you truly feel about comics. On one hand, you say comics are beautiful and wonderful, and that we should make more comics, and there should be more comics. You will frequently defend, or at least explain, moves that the big two make that most of us feel are stupid. On the other hand, it is clear that many of the antics of creators are as frustrating to you as they are to us. You have a lot of the same opinions about creator behavior, where they cross the line, respecting the fans, etc. Which is why I'm confused why you seem to defend the same people who are clearly frustrating you. Some people say it is because you want to maintain relationships. Some people say it is because you want to maintain relationships with comic creators, but I have a hard time believing this is true, given that it's not like you're getting interviews with Tom King or Scott Snyder or some of the other big names. Oh, Scott Snyder. When will you just admit that it's time to do the Perch Show interview? We've been dancing this dance for years. Sorry. For what it's worth, I'll get to this and I'll finish up the mail. No, I don't. I'm not beholden. I'm not saying what I want to say to try and preserve friendships. I mean, look, I'm the one who I have called out behavior. I've talked about things that are stupid. The creators are not going to be like, oh, he's saying all these negative things about us, but he's not. He's right up against the line. He's being nice to us on one hand and crapping us on the other. So I'm sure he's okay in our book. No, a lot of people, unfortunately, if you're going to be kind of arrogant and pigheadish about this stuff, it doesn't matter how faint the criticism. Any criticism is too much criticism. Like, there are comic creators that you say, I don't really like that comic. I like you as a writer. You've written 500 books and I've loved 499, but there's one book I really didn't care for. You're dead to them. That there's absolutely people who take that point of view. So, no, I don't go into this with any kind of illusion of like, I'm maintaining a friendship. It's that's silly. I understand that's what some people have said other places, but why do we give that oxygen? Let's not. There's a combination of jealousy, and it's a combination of people fishing around for anything to attack somebody with, because that's all they've got. That's all they have is attack others. Their entire channel, their entire persona. Anyway, look, people in this industry have incredibly, not all of them, some of them have extremely thin skins, and there's no way to balance the line. So it just is what it is. All right, let's finish up this mail. We can get to the answer to this question. But again, I feel like I've talked about this plenty. Okay. Back to mail. So what is it? You say you love comics, but you're also clearly frustrated by comics. quite frankly, this is why people call you a fence sitter, because it feels like at times you talk out of both sides of your mouth. Again, I like your channel and I like you, so please don't take offense. But you've asked for feedback, and here it is. I know you probably won't read this email on the air, but I think a few people would like to answer this question. All right. First off, I read everything on the air. I've read people just completely shitting on me on the mail. It's or on the air. That's on the air, on the video, on the recording. I'm not on live anyway. I'm getting caught up in the semantics of it. That's fine. What I kind of question a little bit though is are there a lot of people who are really confused by this? I mean, really? I don't know that there are, and I don't know that it's I'll tell you, this may not be a satisfying answer. It's also not a complicated answer. The answer is this. Yeah, both things are true. I do love comics. I do love the potential. I do love these characters. I also have been in comics for a long time, so I've seen them be good. I've seen them be bad. I've seen them be good. I've seen them be bad. I've seen it go around and around. At the same time, I get annoyed by childish juvenile behavior, especially from a retailer perspective. I mean, I want you to understand this point of view. Yes, it's one thing for you, a person on Twitter, to go, Mark Wade insulted my politics because I'm planning to vote for Donald Trump. I like him. And he said people who vote for Donald Trump is stupid. Therefore, he hates me and is attacking me. And there's those of you who hold that point of view. That's fine. You as a fan, but for you as a fan, it's quite simple. You close your wallet. You don't buy it. There are, bazillion comics out there. You have other options and, or you could do what you like. And, I'm not telling you can't be offended by Mark Wade being a dumbass and saying something like that about your politics. But, at the end of the day, you shut your wallet. You're done. The rest of it is how much you want to, be engaged with that. As a retailer, it's actually a lot worse because as a retailer, you're trying to sell these comics. And so every time, for me, standing behind the counter and looking on Twitter, and then here comes Gabby Rivera, here comes Cena Grace, here comes, Mark Wade, here comes Tom King, here comes, somebody, and they're saying some kind of definitive comment. And granted, it is their God-given American right to, have freedom of speech on your social media and say what you're going to say. But for retailers, every time that happens, we groan. Because whether we agree or not, whether that comic shop owner is a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, hates Donald Trump and everything else, they know, if they're smart, they know their customer base, some of their customer base, if they're in Berkeley, maybe a very tiny percent of their customer base. If they're in, Lubbock, Texas, maybe a high percentage of their customer base are coming in who are Trump supporters. And so when you see this stuff, you're like, God damn it, this is just one more bit of friction, one more obstacle to selling comics and therefore making rent. And it, I've had this argument with comic creators before. It is absolutely true that some customers, some fans will close their wallet when they don't like something the creator says. And to a retailer, that is survival money. That is stay alive money. And so, yeah, it irritates the shit out of me for sure. It does. But I'm also a grown man, and people make dumb statements all the time. That is human nature. We have the ability to have freedom of speech, which means you're going to get freedom to say stupid ass shit. And you have a choice to make. Do you ignore it? Do you separate the art from the artist, as they say, or do you get angry about it? If you're mature, that different people are going to have different, levels. Some people are going to say, hey, you know what, I don't care. I love Superman too much. It doesn't bother me. Some people are just going to say, this is the 50th time this has happened, and that's 49 times too many, and I'm done, and I'm out. And some people are going to go, the guy says one comment, I'm out forever. I mean, you have a spectrum of people's reactions to this. This is called life. yes, I love comics. Yes, I wish creators in many cases would stop shooting themselves in the foot, because ultimately that is what it does. I think there is this narrative out there, and it's the reason why I get so hung up and annoyed by the "they hate you" stuff, is because it does always come around. Look, we spent how many years on YouTube did you spend listening to videos about Vita Ayala being a terrible person? I mean, there's got to be over 100 videos out there on Vita. Vita's not doing comics right now. Vita never, ever got to a point where, where they put her on a big book. There was never a Justice League of America by Vita. There was never a Avengers by Vita. Vita, did a bunch of little anthology stories, and the height was probably that New Mutants comic, I guess, for like a blink of an eye during the Krakoa era, where they were just vomiting out all kinds of comics. So it's like, on one hand, yeah, why do they keep giving some of these people work who, cause friction in the comic shop and, do not have a proven sales record? Why do they keep doing that? On the other hand, it's like, and the problem course corrected and solved itself, after a few years. And then they went on to the next person. And so, it all depends on how you want to look at it. Do you look at it like, the comic publishers are dumbasses for continuing to make these mistakes? All right. Do you look at it of, no, we went on a jihad against, Mags Visaggio and then Vita, and then, I don't know, whoever came next, is Stephanie Phillips up, or is it Tom King? You go around. And by the way, there are some creators who've done this kind of stuff. What Tom King did to Jay Lee was absolutely undefensible. Absolutely. And I will tell you, and I have told, and they would confirm it. Snyder would confirm that I said, look, I know you guys are buddies, and I know you guys work together on things and everything else, but that was indefensible, going after Jay Lee like that. He knows I have that opinion. Again, though, I'm not running DC, so I can't fire him. So again, I have a choice. Do I, not buy Tom King comics? By and large, I don't buy many Tom King comics. I don't have he's not on a run that I, feel I need to maintain. I don't particularly like his style. So for me, regardless of even if he said absolutely nothing online, I wouldn't be buying many of his comics because I don't like his writing. It's harder when you get somebody you really don't like doing, for me, the X-Men, because I do have an unbroken run there, and I'm like, okay, I guess I have a choice. And generally, I choose to buy the comic. Not generally, I do with X-Men. Am I stupid about that? Maybe. It's my choice, though. But the one thing I feel I don't have is I don't feel like I have the right, or at least what I do think would be a hypocrite, is if I told everyone else, if I told all of you what to buy and not buy. I think that's that line. So, to me, I love comics. I love the potential. I love a lot of the characters. I think there's a million stories left to be written. I feel frustrated that a lot of the creator dumbassery goes on. I am frustrated that creators leave the big two, go into crowdfunding, go into independence, start their own YouTube channels, and then kind of immediately turn around and be the same pricks that the people in the big two are. Just, now from a different angle. Like, I don't know. Like, it's funny. And this, people will attack this statement. Way, way back, the very first time I heard Comicsgate, I had two thoughts on it. Now, granted, this is long ago, and I'm sure a lot of people who are publishing under that brand, this isn't where you are now. So you don't need to feel attached to what I'm about to say. Number one, I thought the name was stupid because I thought, you got Gamergate. Why are you attaching yourself to Gamergate, Comicsgate? I don't know. It just felt like a rerun. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like, if you're trying to really start a movement or an imprint, do your own thing. But that, again, personal opinion. The second thing I thought is there's one aspect of Comicsgate that I thought, there was a statement that I thought nobody in their right mind could argue with this. And the statement was, respect your customer. But it's amazing to me how few people have lived that statement. Respect your customer means, period, respect your customer. And if you want to broaden it, it could mean potential customer, which is hard to do. What is the line when somebody comes in and starts barking at you and making fun of you and they're not a customer yet, but they could be? Do you let that all roll off your back? Do you turn the other cheek, as they say? Or do you clap back? I think I like that aspect. Now, granted, there were a million other things that came into it, but respect your customer aligns with how I view my role as a retailer. People are going to come in the door. I don't know what they're about. I guarantee you that they have opinions that I don't share, but I want their money. And so I'm going to, unless they thoroughly cross the line, I've done videos on this too, I'm going to try and respect that customer. I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a CG value. I think that's a human value. It really is. I think you can extend it more broadly. Just respect your fellow human being. Just they may come and have different opinions. They may come and argue with you, but as much as you can, don't get caught up in silly bullshit. And I'm frustrated that a lot of, people in comics get caught up in silly bullshit. I'm frustrated because it hurts me as a retailer. I'm frustrated because it hurts them as a creator. How many more comics would Dan Slott? How many more comics or sandwiches would Dan Slott eat if he stayed off Twitter and just focused on writing comics and eating? It's such a time suck. I know, to me, that there's no disconnect there. They go hand in hand. I'm always going to root for comics. I'm never going to root for comics to fail. I'm never going to root for Marvel or DC to implode. I am going to root for better people, in some cases, to write for them. I'm going to root for people to, try the best, and I'm going to give them some grace when they fail. Being respectful to fans 100% of the time is hard, especially when you have people who, take delight in coming at you and seeing if they can antagonize you into a reaction. And there are people who do that, lots. So I'm not going to, break somebody over the coals if they slip up. I think there comes a point where you slip up and up and up and up and up. I think that was definitely true. I think what Tom King did to his fellow creator Jay Lee was entirely wrong. Entirely wrong. No excuses. And I think it follows on the heels of kind of bragging about Mark Brooks and like some of the other junk he's done that, I think I don't forgive at that point. I would love to see him, work hard to turn it around, but there's just been too much silly behavior that is not in the service of comics. It's not in service of the story. It's not in service of the retailers. It's not in the service of the fans. It doesn't help anything. And so, that's just a problem. I'm pleased, and I can say on one hand that Kelly Thompson's Wonder Woman book's pretty good. Her Absolute Wonder Woman book, pretty good. I don't think that excuses the behavior at Marvel and presumably DC, but who knows what's going on over there. Hopefully she's better, but doesn't excuse the behavior over there. It doesn't excuse what went on with Reminder. It does not excuse any of that stuff. So I will hope that a lot of people can make good on things, and I will certainly cheer them on if they try and make good on it. And I don't think they need to make good on it for me. I'm looking at this as yes, I was, you could argue I was wronged as a retailer because it cost sales. But a lot of cases, these actions hurt other people. And my hope is that they would go and make good with those other people. They don't need to do it for me. But that's, I will always hope for people to do better. I will always hope for comics to get better. I will always hope for success. And in the process, I'm going to be annoyed by dumbass behavior. That's it. Your mileage may vary, and that's cool too. You don't have to think how I think. I feel like I've said this a lot though. I feel like this is one of those cases where I'm gonna put this out there, and I'm gonna be on with Joe Corrali, who's like, "Why do you always talk about this stuff?" That's not how he sounds, and it's like, you know what? I don't know, because people ask. That's why. I do what I do. This channel is sometimes fun. It's sometimes pretty goddamn hard. Thanks for listening.